Welcome everyone, welcome to Silent Stacks. Here we focus on silently stacking the bag while navigating uncertainty in real time. Welcome to my channel. I post 3 videos per month, one on the 8th, one on the 17th, and one on the 26th of each month. If you find value in my work, feel free to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Let's dive right in. Alright, so here we have the Bitcoin chart. This is the 4-hour time frame. We've been following this pattern here since March 22, more or less. This is when I drew out this pattern, so it's nice to see it playing out. So let's analyze this custom indicator here. This is called the Silent Stacks indicator, here available on TradingView. I've been following this green dot in the short term, and this is what inspired me to draw this pattern. So we had a green dot here, a green dot act as a magnet, and a lot of people were bearish here, calling for sub 60k, and that's what started to make me a little bit more bullish. Not only was the sentiment very bearish, but we had this green dot to show a magnet towards it. And here we are. Now we're in a tricky spot because this was the target. The target was closing a few 4-hour candle close above 75k, and we already did that. And while we did that, we did not print any more green dots. This is a divergence. So not only do we have a divergence in this leg over here, we also have a divergence here now. All right, so are we done with this pump, or can we push a little bit higher? That's what we're going to determine today in this video. So buying over here was a lot less risk than buying over here. We do have some liquidity over here, according to Dr. Profit. Here he says even the bullish trap can be very profitable. The fake pump will continue. It's not over, as I'm calling since February, and that's what this level is right here, 79 to 84. All right, so he's using some kind of liquidity mapping to find out his liquidity, and right now he's targeting this zone over here, 84. So we have a thick one over here, so it does make sense with this structure over here, and we have it all the way to 91. So 91 is a bit high, but this is where we got this sell entry over here. So I would not be surprised to see the price all the way up here around 90k, and I will be very confident in shorting here if it comes, because we already had an entry before, and usually you could short the same zone and have success with it. So I would be interested in shorting 91, but we'll see how it does in this liquidity pool over here. All right, let's zoom out. Let's go to the weekly. The weekly is looking amazing. We are having a nice reaction with last all-time high, and we're getting a very nice bounce in this zone over here. And now this is where the divide is going to happen. And a couple videos ago, I did say that even if we pump to this zone, there's going to be confusion, because zooming out, we're still far from previous all-time high. So there is a bearish case of this being a relief rally before we continue down. And the bulls have a case because we're reacting to previous all-time high, creating a double bottom, and now we're pushing higher. So some people are even calling a all-time high now. Others are getting prepared to short here. So I suspect that this will be a battle between bears and bull, pretty much like any other day. So here we're going to silence the noise, and we're going to figure out what is the most likely scenery based on what we see. So right now I am in a no trade zone regarding Bitcoin, just because the 75 was my short-term target using the 4-hour strategy. Even though I do suspect higher, I'm not getting any buy signals. Okay, the buy signal was down here for me, and this was the de-risk zone. Alt could be showing a different story. Let's take a look at XRP. Every time XRP goes to the 200 weekly, it tends to have a reaction back to the 50. So if you look at 2018, first touch of the 200 had a reaction back to the 50. And then in 2022, it touched the 200, had a reaction back to the 50. And here we are in the 200. You know, we are trading below, but I said as long as we stay around the zone, it still counts as the 200. And in my previous video, I said we do need a candle close above the 200 weekly, sits at around 140. And if we get a candle close, we have a good chance of pumping to the 50, which sits a little bit below $2. All right, so let's review this idea here. So back in the COVID crash, around 2020 to 2021, we had a rally, and I am comparing this cycle with that rally, especially with the schematic. We had a buying climax here, we had a selling climax here, and then we had a second test, and eventually we made our way back to this base, and we broke it. So we broke this red line and we started the accumulation. And that's what I'm comparing this with. So let's review. So we had the first high over here, and then we started correcting. We had a selling climax, and then we had a second high. And eventually we went back to this base, and then we broke it. I'm seeing a lot of similarities, but it's happening a lot quicker. So pay attention how XRP price action reacted with this red line. Once it broke, it found a base, and eventually magnetized itself back to this red line. And then we had a crash, we had a second test of the base, and then we went again. So we broke this red line, and then after we found a base, we went to the red line, just like over here. So I'm saying this wick is very similar behavior. And then we went down, testing the base, and then we went back up. And that's why I'm anticipating 160, and then after 160, we have a little battle over here, and then we break out. This is what I'm talking about. We had a bottom, and then we pushed the red line, we went down, testing the base, and now we're pushing up again. So we could like chop around here a bit, and eventually once we do this, we pop up. And here I will be cautious, anywhere from about 130, about 120, even about $2. I'll be very cautious over here because I do eventually see us testing the red line again. So look, here we acted as resistance, and then once we popped above it, it flipped it into support. So even though this is happening fast, I am anticipating something like that. So after we get the rally, we'll be testing this red line over here. At least one more touch before going. So I'll be cautious around this area right here. The accumulation is below this red line. A lot of people are calling for, about $1 to 75 cents, more or less, just to test this structure. But I'm saying when you zoom out, we do not have to do that because this schematic is looking very strong. We have a high over here in 2027, then we have a selling climax, and then we had a second test over here, and then we had a base over here, and then we broke the neck over here. And that's what this is. We're finding structure over here before continuing up. So I think a lot of people are underestimating the 140 level when zooming out. So I think the 140 is a stronger support than $1. Even if we get some kind of wick here to this will be a risky play in my opinion, to be waiting all the way down here to start accumulating. In my opinion, accumulation happens below 160. So anything below 160, we're in the accumulation territory. All right, notice how every time it went below this red line, it was a buy. And right now we're still in this section over here. We did not accept this. We did not have this pump over here. I am anticipating $2, and this could happen a lot faster than most are anticipating. And it does not have to go as bad as most are anticipating. But we'll take it one step at a time. Right now, the next target will be $2, and we'll see how it reacts to there. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below. All right, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you found value, make sure you like the video. I post 3 videos per month, one on the 8th, one on the 17th, and one on the 26th of each month. So if you like my work, make sure you subscribe and stay tuned. You can also follow me on X at 24/7stacks for quicker updates. I am growing this account. You are in the right place at the right time. Until next time, take care.